Good afternoon, Winnipeg. My name's Ashley Rees, and you're listening to The Diamond Lane on Winnipeg's Classic 107. The Manitoba Choral Association is dedicated to supporting, strengthening, and promoting the choral arts in Manitoba. One of the ways that they do this is through an annual festival, ChoralFest, and it's an event that's moved 100% online this year. The festival started just over a week ago and it wraps up this Saturday. So, here to tell me a little bit about how things have been going is Manitoba Choral Association Associate Director, Jenny Steinke-Magnus. Hello, Jenny. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks, Ashley.
Let's start with the obvious question. How has this year been different for participants, adjudicators, and clinicians?
Yeah, so normally Choral Fest, I mean, it's a long running festival. We've been doing it for over 30 years. This year is very different. We can't do anything in person. So we've basically moved everything online. And we decided to break it up into four components. So we really took a look at what the important elements were of Choral Fest, which is the educational aspect, and then the working with clinicians and getting to see other people perform, other choirs perform. So we decided to really focus in on the educational aspect and connecting with clinicians. So the four components are video workshops, a live panel discussion, which happened last week with vocal jazz group Cadence. And then we have virtual adjudications with Carrie Tennant. And we have a live choral workshop with Dr. Elroy Friesen, which we've unfortunately had to postpone because of current restrictions in Manitoba. So basically, the videos have been really well received. We have 15 different videos that we've shared with our members, and it's totally free for members to access these videos. And they're 15 to 30-minute workshops with adjudicators that would have been coming in for Choral Fest had we been doing it in person. So yeah, there's a lot of really exciting aspects to it. And yeah, so we've had to totally reinvent it.
No kidding, but I mean, it sounds like you've got a well-oiled machine here. What sort of response have you seen from the choral community?
So we've had a lot of people sign up for these different elements, and yeah, we've had some really, really good reception. People have really, really enjoyed the videos. We had a lot of people on our live panel discussion last week with Cadence. We've had a few choirs sending in their pieces for virtual adjudications. And the way that works is basically, we know that choirs aren't performing right now. Many aren't even rehearsing. And if they are, it's completely virtually at the moment. So we've asked choirs to either send in, a virtual choir submission or a video of their past performance or rehearsal time when they were doing it in person, so that they could get some feedback from an acclaimed adjudicator. So that's sort of, yeah, we've had lots of choirs sign up. It hasn't, of course, been the same as it has been in the past, just because many choirs aren't meeting at the moment, and a lot of people are struggling. So we've just really tried to offer something that's really exciting to the choral community and different.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a lot of choirs aren't meeting right now. It's difficult to meet. I mean, we did talk to a choir last week that's doing online rehearsals, but they're not able to sing together. Their mics are off and they're singing. So it's a different experience. Have you seen attitudes change towards choirs and choral music as the pandemic's gone on?
Yeah, so I think at the beginning of the pandemic, when everything shut down in March, there was a lot of information that was being shown in the media about choir rehearsals being super spreader events. So people were very understandably concerned that choirs, would be a space where the virus would easily be transmitted. And so a lot of people have really looked at that and said, well, how can we still sing together? And I think that the attitudes, we've actually really been trying to change those attitudes and those misconceptions, really, because it actually isn't the act of singing that really has, the research has shown that it hasn't really been that hasn't been the problem per se. It's the gathering together, being in close proximity with one another, having lengthy rehearsal times, things like that. So we've done a lot of work advocating for guidelines to be created by the government to really change the perception that choir is the culprit in these cases. So I think that attitudes are slowly starting to be changed, and a lot of people are really reading what research. There wasn't really a lot of research on this at all, but over the summer there's been some really prominent studies that have come out, and so we're really trying to educate people about that, and so I think that perceptions are slowly changing. Of course, with the current restrictions, it's really, really difficult to make any changes. But we're really hopeful that, when our numbers start to go down in Manitoba, we can definitely start gathering again in small groups and seeing how we can modify choir to fit those restrictions.
And in the meantime, the idea of doing something virtual is, in my opinion, so much better than doing nothing at all, especially because of the social aspect of choir.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
what advice do you have to other arts organizations who are trying to determine if and how they should be moving their programming online now that you've done it yourself?
Yeah, so I guess there would be a few things that I would say. I think that going through this process, I mean, it's new for everybody. So just be patient with yourself. Really try to get a good team together that is really dedicated and come up with different creative ways of delivering what you want to deliver to the public or to your membership or whoever your stakeholders are. I think we've really been listening to the choral community and getting a lot of feedback on what's happening, just trying to keep our, keep our finger on the pulse and see, okay, what are choirs doing, what would be helpful for choirs right now and choral directors, what can we offer that would be accessible to our membership and to the choral community. So we've really been asking ourselves those questions and trying to get feedback, so that we can then shape our programming, our virtual programming, to then suit our audience. And so I think that would be a big thing to do if organizations are looking at moving something virtually, moving to be online. That's definitely something that you would need to consider.
Excellent advice. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Jenny. I wish you the best of luck in your last few days here of ChoralFest, and moving forward through the pandemic. I hope that we can all make music together again soon.
Definitely, we really hope that as well. Thank you, Ashley.